Imagine standing in Britain around 1800. Coal dust hangs in the air. Steam hisses from strange new machines. The ground vibrates with the turning of giant iron wheels. A transformation is beginning, one that will reshape not only Europe, but the entire world.
Mr. Higgins, the growth of this factory is astonishing. How did Britain leap from workshops to industrialized cities?
It comes down to a few key ingredients, miss. Think of it like a recipe. First, we needed resources.
Like coal and iron?
Precisely. The coal to fuel the engines, the iron to build them. Britain had both in abundance, right under our feet. But across Europe, France, Belgium, later Germany, wherever coal and iron existed, factories followed. And every nation trying to catch up must follow this engine. But resources alone are just rock and dirt. You need capital.
Money to invest from trade and banking?
Exactly. Wealth from centuries of global trade, silver from the Americas, textiles from India, poured into banks right here. Capital turned inventions into industries. Mills, steelworks, railroads, shipping companies.
And the third ingredient?
Entrepreneurship, the risk taker, the fellow who perfects the steam engine, or the businessman, like myself, who gathers the capital, buys the resources, and figures out how to profit from it all. Without that spirit, Miss Alexa, this entire machine grinds to a halt.
So abundant resources, flowing capital, and daring entrepreneurship built this industrial economy.
They did. But there's a new problem, miss. Our factories now have an insatiable global appetite. We need more than just coal and iron. Now, if you'll excuse me, I must secure a new shipment of cotton from our suppliers in India and the American South. Soon, even Africa will become part of this supply chain.
Europe's new factories needed something they did not have enough of: raw materials, markets, labor, land. Industrialization demanded expansion. Factories hungered for more than steam and steel. They hungered for resources from across the world. Cotton for the ever-growing textile mills, rubber for belts, gaskets, and the machinery that powered production. Copper and tin for the electrical wiring of a modern age. Palm oil to keep the engines turning, smooth and fast. And tea, coffee, and spices to satisfy Europe's exploding consumer markets.
The appetite of industry was endless, and it pushed empires farther and farther across the globe. To industrial nations, Britain, France, Germany, Belgium, and Italy, Africa and Asia appeared to Europe like vast warehouses waiting to be claimed.
Railroads, telegraphs, and steamships made conquest easier than ever. Imperialism became a way to feed the industrial machine and a way to display national power.
Berlin, 1884, a grand chandeliered hall. Flags of Europe hang above a massive map of Africa laid out across an oak table. Delegates murmur as Otto von Bismarck steps forward, calm, deliberate, hosting the great diplomatic performance of the age. Beside the Congo basin stands King Leopold II, tall, bearded, calculating. Leopold makes his claim.
The Congo basin is a vast, unclaimed wilderness, a region Belgium is ready to develop, civilize, and open to international commerce.
A few delegates shift in their chairs. British Representative Sir Edward Malley lifts an eyebrow.
Commerce, or the rubber your industries cannot survive without.
Leopold's thin smile widens.
Rubber is valuable, yes, but the local populations lack structure. They will require firm guidance and a disciplined hand to make the land productive.
Everyone in the room understands what firm guidance means. The map is drawn. Bismarck picks up a straight edge and draws a long, hard line across Central Africa.
It is settled. This region shall be recognized as the International Association of the Congo, administered by His Majesty King Leopold II.
A short, awkward silence follows.
One day I shall rename this territory the Congo Free State.
Then, two Belgian aides quietly chuckle at the word free. One looks down, one bites his lip to hide a grin. Leopold stares straight ahead, pretending not to notice. Millet hears the chuckle. He fixes the Belgians with a cold look.
Free. The Congo Free State. Indeed, that will be quite the headline.
The aides instantly stop smiling.
Nothing about this arrangement is free, or least of all the people who live there.
Leopold's jaw tightens, but he says nothing.
France moves from the west. Portugal clings to the coasts. Germany advances in the east. We are tripping over one another for territory.
Which is precisely why we gather here, to avoid European war through clarity and order.
The principle that changes everything. Bismarck addresses the room with statesmanlike authority.
Effective occupation. No claim shall be recognized unless the occupying power controls the territory with soldiers, treaties, and administration.
No African voices here, this is true, but neither will Africa remain untouched. The question is whether this continent is ruled by chaos or connected by rail from Cape to Cairo.
Leopold rolls up the designated Congo section with a crisp, satisfied snap.
History will thank us for bringing order, even if it cannot yet appreciate the sacrifices required.
A faint military drumbeat echoes from somewhere deep in the building, a dark omen of what the Congo will endure.
Gentlemen, Africa awaits division.
The delegates sit, pens scratch, borders shift, a continent is carved before afternoon tea. But as Europe stretched outward, one major nation remained absent from the race. The scramble for Africa unfolded in the decades after the American Civil War, while the United States turned inward, rebuilding a fractured nation through reconstruction, westward expansion, and industrial growth. So when European powers prepared to divide Africa, the United States did not arrive as a competitor, only as an observer. It had no African colonies, no territorial ambitions there, no army positioned for overseas conquest. But the United States did insist on one thing: Liberia must remain untouched. Founded in the early 1800s by formerly enslaved people returning from the United States, Liberia was more than a country. It was symbolic. A republic built by people reclaiming their freedom. A parallel story to America's own struggle after the Civil War. So when the European empires drew lines across Africa, dividing kingdoms and redrawing borders, Liberia and Ethiopia stood apart. Among the very few African nations to remain independent, a small exception in a massive imperial system, but one with lasting significance. The Berlin Conference did not industrialize Africa, it organized access. Access to resources, access to labor, access to markets. The borders drawn in Berlin followed what industry demanded: minerals, trade routes, raw materials. For Europe, the results were clear. Resources fed factories. Capital expanded railroads, machines, and shipping. Entrepreneurship linked production to global markets. Industrial economies did not stop at national borders. They expanded outward in search of more fuel. Together, resources, capital, and entrepreneurship powered Europe's industrial rise and pushed that power across the world.